Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, quite early in my 30 and 40 years of working life, I came to understand that budget is a reflection of the aspiration of a department, an institution, or a nation. And this should be the case for East African community as well. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the aspiration of the East African community regarding gender is clearly reflected in the Treaty for the Establishment of the East African Community. And there are 3 such articles. There is Article 5.3e, which actually is asking for or demanding the mainstreaming of gender in all endeavors of the East African community to enhance the role of women in cultural, socioeconomic, and technological development. There are 2 other articles. Article 121, A, B, C, and E, D and E, is focused on promoting the empowerment and effective integration and participation of women at all levels of socioeconomic development. And the 3rd article is Article 122, A, B, C, D, and E, and is focused on the role of women in business, how we should, and all partner, not only the EAC institutions, but also the partner states should actually note and make sure that women are participating effectively in businesses. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, there are other 2 things that I learned about budgets in my life. Number 1, what does not appear as a budget line item does not get any allocation of money. And when that happens, it means nothing is going to be done about it. If something doesn't appear, it will not get an allocation, and nobody's going to do anything about it. So we have to be aware. Those things that we talk about, empowerment, encouragement, and getting rid of these practices that delegates women to second-class citizens, is there anything in a budget that is addressing that or not? If it's not appearing clearly, let me tell you, nobody's going to do anything about it. The 3rd thing I learned about budget is that a budget can benefit men and women differently, depending on their different gender roles assigned by society. And I give you an example. Some years ago, in the Republic of South Sudan, when I was in the Ministry of Agriculture, the ministry decided to promote production by introducing ox plowing. Now, the problem here is women do not own animals. No animal, maybe chicken, but chicken cannot be used for ox plow. It is men who have oxen. They are the one entitled to own it and use it. So what happened was, the oxen that was being distributed by the ministry ended up mainly with men. And yet, on average, more than 60% of the farmers were women. Now, the second issue is, when men started using ox plow without women, and the government not doing anything about women, the area under production increased from about 3 acres to 7. Now come to the problem. Women are normally doing the weeding, the harvesting, and the threshing, and the storage. Now the area has increased more than they can normally weed with their hands. So they were unable to weed the 7 acres. They were unable to harvest the 7 acres with their hands because there is no strategy developed to take care of their roles. And then they couldn't store what has been harvested from the 7 acres in the small granaries they had. So what happened? Men started calling their women lazy because they are unable to deal with an increased production resulting from this new technology. And of course, there were family quarrels and so on. I'm giving this example to tell you it's real. When you do a budget, however innocent you are, it's very important to know this money you have allocated, where is it going? Is it priorities, general priorities? Or is it going to address the priorities of every sector in the society, including women? And I can give a lot of examples of that nature. So, Right Honorable Speaker and my colleagues, today is a very important day for us because we as Women Caucus, we have placed a role on ourselves of making sure that those 3 articles of the treaty are implemented not only at the regional level, but also at the partner states level. And we can only do that if we understand how to look for this very delicate and very evasive impact of allocating budgets without being gender sensitive. So I'm really happy that Akina Mama is here to do it with us. We'll have all our ears open so that it may not be this budget, but as soon as we get the tools, we want to be able to pull apart every policy, every budget, so that we can get justice. Budgets can be just, unjust. It's unjust when it's not addressing the concern of second segments of the society. I want to thank everybody, and I'm happy that the Speaker is here and the clerk is also here, and we are all here. Thank you very much for your presence.